Great. Good afternoon and welcome to certification training. My name is Angela Gibson-Shaw and I'm Outreach Specialist with the Contractor Development and Bonding Program. Today's training is hosted by the Contractor Development and Bonding Program and is sponsored by the City of Los Angeles, LA Metro, and the County of Los Angeles, our newest sponsor. The Contractor Development and Bonding Program is administered by Meriwether & Williams Insurance Services, and it was created to prepare small diverse contractors to effectively compete for public agency contracts. We're here to help you overcome those challenges and obstacles that are necessary to make sure that you can compete. And you'll hear more about the program, but before we begin, I'd like to share a few housekeeping rules. So during today's program, if you have any questions, we ask that you put them in the chat box, and that's below at the bottom of the screen called Q&A. We'll answer as many questions as we can at the end of the program. However, we will collect the most asked questions, get them answered, and sent to all attendees in a separate document, along with the presentations and a link to this recording after the training. If you have a question specific to your business and specific to one of the public agencies, we ask that you reach out to that appropriate contact, and we'll make sure that you have their contact information. Also, let me share with you that as the host of this meeting, Meriwether & Williams Insurance Services reserves a right to remove anyone participating or engaging in behavior that is either inappropriate or a distraction to the proceedings. Person or persons involved in such behavior will be immediately removed from this meeting and not allowed to rejoin. So let's keep it professional. All right, so let's take a look at our agenda. Today's session will educate you about certification, help you understand the benefits, and teach you how to apply to various certifications for your business. But before we begin, let's get a greeting and an overview of the Contractor Development and Bonding Program from Ingrid Meriwether, President and CEO of Meriwether & Williams Insurance Services. With more than 25 years of experience in the insurance industry, Ingrid is also the Chief Architect of the Contractor Development and Bonding Program, which is administered on behalf of major public entities and jurisdictions, and she enjoys collaborating with clients, contractors, and community members to create mutually beneficial outcomes. Collectively, these programs have enabled small and minority contractors to bid on over $800 million in public works construction projects to date, establishing strong bonding credit and building the foundation for ongoing business success. Please welcome Ingrid Meriwether.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela, very much. And I'd like to add my welcome. We were very pleased to see the interest in this topic. We're encouraged by the number of people who are realizing the potential benefits of becoming certified. Matter of fact, we were having a chat before the program started talking about the increase in those applying for certification of late. And it's just wisdom being illustrated, because I assume many of you are here and interested in learning more about the benefits and value of becoming certified, maybe in part because you're hearing about the wealth of opportunities that are contemplated, inuring from all the way from the passage of the infrastructure bill and other initiatives that are attached to government funding, a lot of it in construction, but not exclusively. And the fact that from, the president of the country all down, there is a recognition of the importance of inclusion, inclusivity, DEI. I mean, it's all new language that we're all speaking these days, but it essentially means that there's a recognition of the importance and value to create more access and more opportunities to folks, including people of color, to participate in the wealth of public contracting and procurement. And certification is really one of the first steps that a business needs to take to be in position to capture some of those opportunities. So again, welcome. We're glad that you're here. And as Angela said, before we actually get into the subject of certification, you're going to hear from some key folks involved in that arena with all three of our sponsoring agencies, we thought we'd also take an opportunity to give you a little bit of information about really the program, the Contractor Development and Bonding Program, which is bringing you today's information, but it's a program that's being sponsored by the City of Los Angeles, LA Metro, and now the County of Los Angeles. And it's really around the fact that they have a shared objective to help address some of the systemic and institutional barriers that have precluded, smaller firms, diverse firms from really more fully participating in public contracting with emphasis on public construction. And so when we hear about, infrastructure dollars and capital improvement programs, there is going to be a substantial part of that that's going to flow particularly into the construction industry. So want to share a little bit of an overview of the program that is sponsored by these agencies. This is really going to just be high level. We will be convening many more forums to go into more detail about the program, in particular for those of you that are involved in construction, public construction, whether that's a contractor, architect, engineer, construction management, but in the construction arena, this will be of particular interest to you because this is a resource and financial services that are being sponsored by our program sponsors, the City of LA Metro and the County of LA, which, as you can imagine, collectively will represent billions of dollars of construction opportunity that's underway now and will be for some time into the future. And so the purpose of the program is really in recognition that getting into the arena of public construction, being able to participate and ever increasing your capacity in the public construction space really requires some supportive services, some technical assistance, and some very direct financial resources to overcome what have really been kind of institutional barriers that have made it more difficult for small and diverse firms, as I said, to more fully participate in public construction. So the core elements of the program are represented in the 4 pillars that you see here. And it really all starts with the first pillar, assessment and technical assistance. So this is a program that's under what's called a shared resource, shared cost model that all these agencies are helping to make this program and its resources available to the contractor and public construction contracting community, that they are all share a goal of having more participation in their projects. So they recognize that, the challenges for you are the same, whether you're looking to do work with the City of LA or LAWA or Metro or LA County. And so having a program that addresses those common challenges and provides resources that would benefit you irrespective of which agency you might pursue an opportunity with is really the foundation of what we're calling a regional program. So it means you can enroll in one program, go through the assessment, and in exchange, you're going to get support and resources that will enable you to be better positioned to bid, secure bonding, and secure contract financing with opportunities associated with any one of these sponsor entities. So it starts with, an assessment. We work with you individually to really assess where are you at this moment in time? Where are there opportunities for you to make improvements in your business that will better position you to take advantage of the opportunities that are here today and those that are coming in the future. Then we create a work plan with you that's really focused on identifying your strengths and identifying areas where some additional support or some additional resources could enhance your capacity. I mentioned in particular bonding assistance. So for those of you who are contractors, you know that it can be difficult securing the necessary bonds in cases where you have to have a bond to bid directly as a contractor for a public agency project where a bond is required, or even as a subcontractor where prime contractors may require that you bond a subcontract with them, or some cases just prove your ability to bond, even if a bond isn't required. So that's a very well documented barrier that is recognized as a systemic barrier that these agencies are providing resources to help you overcome. So as Angela made reference in the introduction, our program, it's actually enabled contractors to bid on about $1 billion worth of public construction contracts, and they've been successfully awarded pretty close to $350 million of that work, in which we're able to provide them the final performance and payment bond. And one of the key tools of the program that our sponsors provide the support for is our ability to put up collateral on your behalf with bonding companies that really make the difference in your ability to meet the underwriting criteria of bonding companies that maybe you would not be able to meet otherwise. So this is a program about very substantial, tangible financial resources that our sponsors are making available, that they're backing you, that they're providing financial benefits to really help position your firm to meet the requirements in terms of what's necessary to bid or contract on their projects. So in addition to bonding support, we're also excited that we have recently been able to add another financial resource to the program, and that's contract financing. So we all understand that, again, particularly with respects to public construction, one of the biggest challenges is really funding your work, funding the contract. You know, it's great when you're successful and you bid a project and you get that phone call that, you know, you've been selected and someone is looking to award you a contract, and you're anticipating the start of that work, and then you start to process the reality that you're going to have to find a way to fund the cost associated with performing that work for some period of time before you're going to be paid or reimbursed for the work that you perform through your progress payments. And again, it's an area that the agencies recognize that that's a pretty significant obstacle. And so we've managed to get the support, partnerships with community development financial institutions that enable us to provide you with funding towards a contract that you've been awarded with one of our program sponsors of up to $250,000. We can go higher on a case-by-case basis. And that funding is available to you not on the basis of your credit score, not on the basis of the strength of your financials. It's really tied to your contract. It's a way that we are essentially collateralizing your contract to leverage our ability of providing you funding upfront when you need the funds. So your first payroll, for example, your first purchase of materials, as opposed to you having to fund that from some unidentified source, usually a sleepless night. And then we're able to recapture the funds that have been advanced to you from future progress payments. So it's a very innovative way to provide small contractors with financial backing that's directly tied to you having access to cash flow to fund your awarded contracts, again, with these agencies. So something we're very excited about bringing to our program contractors. And then education, training, and contract support. So one of the important benefits of this program sponsored by these agencies is that we're going to provide you a very substantial amount of support, education, training, all that's relevant in terms of the public construction arena. So there's a long list of subject matters that we bring to you in different forums. Today would be an example where we're bringing to you information about certification, but this is just one of many forums, subject matters, and trainings that the program provides. So, you're now in our system and you'll start to receive information about future training. Some of these trainings are even multi-week academies. So we do things like bidding and estimating, that's a 6-week course. Construction management, that's a 6-week course. And so these are really in-depth, immersive trainings. Oftentimes our subject matter experts are coming from large prime contractors, the Skanskas, PCL, and Swinnertons of the world are bringing their expertise to the trainings that we provide the contractors participating in our program. The other thing we provide you is really with contract completion support. So our focus is really on helping you build long-term capacity. So that means we don't want to just kind of help you get the contract or provide, bonding or contract financing that enable you to be awarded the contract. Our focus is on your successful completion of the contract and your ability to then build on that success and increase your capacity over time. So we've got team members with construction management background who will provide you with support in the field specific to your contract from the beginning of your notice to proceed date all the way to final closeout of the project. And the agency sponsors put us in a position that we can provide you with that ongoing support. And because we're also a consultant to the agency, it puts us in a position to work with the agency on that contract if there are strategies or challenges that the agency themselves can help us overcome. So you essentially, by a participant in the program, have access to technical support all the way through the award of a contract or helping you to attain a contract, all the way to the final completion of that contract. And then finally, what we call our Prime Partners Program. So maybe some of you are here and are paying attention to certification and getting certified because you're aware that large prime contractors have goals to be met, that the agencies expect their prime contractors for whom they award projects to include participation of small and diverse firms. And so we work with a lot of the prime companies that do business with these agencies. And really, this is a program that benefits them as well, because they know that participants in the sponsored program have access to resources, have access to technical assistance, have access to funding. So as an enrolled member in the program, you're going to gain access to introductions, matchmaking with our prime partners who really have a preference in terms of contractors who are supported with these kind of resources that you have available to you as an enrolled contractor in our program. And I guess one of the best benefits of all is that this is all at no cost to you. The cost of providing these resources, the training, the bonding support, the contract financing support is all borne by our public agency sponsors. The exception to that is within contract financing, the interest charges that come along with the funding, that is a direct cost that you incur, but they're at very competitive rates, much more so than you would be able to attain on your own walking into a financial institution. So with the exception of interest charges for contract financing, all of the remaining program services and resources are at no cost to you. So I want to encourage you, again, if you're in the public construction or in the construction arena as a contractor or even as an architect or engineers, because oftentimes the opportunities are with respects to both those in construction and in professional services related to construction. So we want to encourage you to enroll in the program. You'll be assigned an account manager. So that's an individual who will be dedicated to getting you enrolled, getting you assessed, coming to understand your business, looking for opportunities for you, and then have the responsibility of bringing you program resources once those have been identified in terms of what you could best benefit from. So I don't want to go into too much more detail on that. This was really just to give you a general overview. We're very excited that now the program is being extended to LA County. And so that just means for those of you who maybe are already aware of the program or enrolled, it just means even more opportunity for our ability to assist you. So with that, I want to again just thank you for your participation today, and I am going to turn it back over, I believe, to our MC of the day, Miss Angela Gibson. Thank you.
Thank you, Ingrid. That was some great information on the Contractor Development and Bonding Program. And so to continue our afternoon, I need your help, guys, with a quick poll question. So this 2-question survey allows us to deliver better programming for you. And today's quick poll, will be administered by Carlos Ray, who is our Contractor Development and Bonding Program Communications Manager. And right after we complete this poll, we'll get into certification. So we'll take a few seconds and let's answer. How can we help you learn more about the program? What issues and what subjects are you more interested in? So please take a moment and vote. And as was mentioned earlier in the program, we will be sending you a link to the recording and a copy of all of the handouts and additional information. So there are a number of issues, a number of subjects that we can help you with: bonding, certification, partnerships, CPA cost subsidy, bid review and assistance, education, training, and others. So let us know how we can help you be a better business. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your response and your answers. All righty, our first speaker is Jessica Morales, and she's representing LA County's newest department, Workforce Development, Aging, and Community Services, better known as WEDAX. She's the Senior Technical Assistance Counselor for OSB and Ptac with WEDAX, and she's going to explain all those acronyms. Welcome, Jessica.
Hi, Angela. Thank you so much. And thank you to Ingrid and the entire team at Meriwether & Williams for having us today. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So as Angela said, I am with LA County's Office of Small Business. I am part of the team that administers the certification programs as well as the Procurement Technical Assistance Center for LA County. My contact information is listed here as well. Go ahead and we recently moved over into the Workforce Development, Aging, Community Services, which is going to be a temporary home for us while LA County kind of phases in a new approach to realign all of its economic development programming. And I just want to say again, thank you for having us here today. I think this is a wonderful program, and I think it's going to add a very important resource for our small business community. So this is an overview of our services. We have our business concierge, our small business counseling, and then of course our procurement technical assistance center. Our concierge is really geared toward new entrepreneurs, people who are looking to start and open a business in the County of Los Angeles. Our small business counseling is more specialized. It's a little more hyper-focused on county opportunities, county certification programs, and connecting you to all the relevant resources and information on how to do business with the county. And then we are also the host of the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, which provides information and training for small businesses who don't only want to sell to the county, but other local agencies, state agencies, and of course, federal government. So let me just pause here for a moment and tell you a little bit more about Ptac. It really is an opportunity. So it was funded through the Department of Defense and the Defense Logistics Agency. It is a national program. We have 8 Ptacs in California and only 1 in the County of Los Angeles, and that is us. If you are interested in learning more about Ptac, the links on this site are live. If you'd like to book an appointment online with myself or any one of our Ptac counselors, you absolutely can. We do individualized action plans for how to get you started, navigate through various registration and certification programs. address proposals, quotes, and responses. With the exception of county procurement, we actually can't give you specific feedback on a county solicitation as we are county employees. We also provide you access to different aggregated procurement data tools and how those are going to be significant in identifying who your customer is and how to market to that customer. So this is a really, really oversimplified view of government procurement. There's a registration process, a certification process, you do some research and procurement training, and then you get into responding to solicitations and marketing to different agencies. So today we're going to focus namely on the certification programs for LA County, but in general, registration is not the same as a licensing or a professional requirement. It is an additional step that a business is required to take on our platform that establishes a profile for your business on our government portal. So for the county, for instance, it's WebVen, and I'll show you a little bit more about where to go to access that. It'll capture general information, your business contact, and it's also utilized to distribute information. So anything from procurement announcements to events like these to changes in our policies that may be affecting the procurement practice. Certification can vary, as you're going to learn today. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of information about certification. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A. Now, anything that's not answered, you guys can reach out to me directly. But for the county, there are 7 different certification programs that we'll go into. I do recommend that when you're looking at the different certifications, you prioritize those that are going to have reciprocity or recognition between 2 different agencies. So Metro is one of those agencies that the county recognizes, for instance. You want to make sure that you're tracking all the documentation that you have for these applications and that you're understanding how to leverage the benefits of the programs that you're participating in. So, you get certified, what's next? What does that mean? How do I take it this step further? So again, this certification is not a requirement, but it is recommended and it does enhance your registration profile. This is an overview of certification programs across a very, very small area of government agencies. Literally, we're just looking at the federal registration database, which is the system for award management, the state of California, which is CalEProcure, and then of course the county, which is WebVen. So as you can see, just by looking at this, there are a lot of different certifications that you may be eligible for. A lot of them duplicate, and a lot of them are standalone certifications, meaning you have to keep obtaining the same certification at different levels of jurisdiction. So what does it mean to do business with LA County? We are a large customer. We cater to over 10 million residents. We have over 120,000 employees, 37 different buying departments, over 1.5 billion in spend on goods and supplies, and over 6 billion on spend in contract services. These are just estimates. So it is a huge marketplace, and we do buy a little bit of everything. And all of that starts, of course, with our vendor registration site. So I recommend that everyone bookmark this. You really get to know it. doingbusiness.lacounty.gov is your starting point. That is going to be your access to registration on WebVen, which is going to be your access to solicitations, which is, of course, going to allow you to activate the other portals that enhance. So the vendor self-service is required to be able to register for direct deposit, for instance. You can view awarded contracts, which is important in understanding contract cycles. And then resources and other contact information is also available. So you can take a look at things like our boilerplate language, so our standard terms and conditions for services, for commodities, to get yourself familiar with how the county is going to solicit something and what the terms tend to be. Once you get to doing business, you're going to go ahead and head on over to the registration site, which is actually LA County WebVen. So WebVen is where you're going to input all your important business information. You're going to need your taxpayer ID number or your social. You're going to need the organization or company contact, point of contact, name, address, email, etc., tax, sales permit, license if applicable for your industry, and then a list of products and services that your company provides. And that is going to translate back into a system that the county utilizes to track different product and service codes called commodity codes. So they are different than NAICS codes. They are different than the state's UNSPSC codes. They are a unique coding index that the county has that is unique to the county. There is a verification period once you establish your profile to ensure that your information is matching whatever is in IRS or the other public agency websites. And there is always available help. If you struggle to get yourself registered, you can always email ISD Vendor Relations, which is our centralized purchasing agent. So ISD kind of is the gatekeeper of our codes, our contracting practices, and then we are an arm of certification that goes along with their programming. These are the county certification programs. There are two distinct umbrella programming. There's the preference program entities and then the community business enterprise program. So the PPE certified vendors are going to be anyone who qualifies and is registered and certified as a local small business, a disabled veteran business, and a social enterprise. The community business enterprise refers to all the participations under there collectively. So women-owned, minority-owned, disadvantaged, LGBTQ, which is a new certification, DBE, which is more of a recognition, and then the DVBE program is the only one that kind of crosses the boundary between both PPE and community business enterprise. So PPE certified vendors have a shared benefit, which is why they've been attached to one another. They have this 15% price bid preference that is applied during the evaluation period of a proposal or a opening quote. So if you are certified, your bid amount will artificially get lowered by up to 15% to make your price a little more competitive with other agencies. So again, that is an enhancement to your registration profile, to your presence, and it is also a procurement vehicle that allows buyers to engage with you more readily. Of course, if you are awarded the contract, you are entitled to the full amount of the payment. Again, it's just utilized for the evaluation to make you more competitive. Eligibility for the simplified acquisition process, which is another procurement vehicle method that I will get into a little later, a listing on our database. And then for LSBE certified vendors, so our local small businesses, they're also entitled to a 15-day prompt payment. So that means payment within a net 15 of an undisputed invoice, which is a very, very expedited payment schedule. So what do you need to do to qualify for the LSBE program? You do have to be for-profit. If you're applying for non-federally funded solicitations, you do have to have your principal place of business located in LA County for the most recent 12 months. You will need to have 100 or fewer employees. Gross annual receipts average over 3 years, less than 15 million or less than 3.5 million for a micro status. And then for manufacturers, there is no revenue requirement, but definitely under 25 employees. You must have an active small business or small business micro certification with either DGS or an SBE with Metro, which I believe Metro will get into today. The real difference between these two agencies, but both are free to apply, but Cal eProcure or the state certification is a 2-year program, whereas Metro can give you all the way up to 5 years with a 1-year annual attestation. So for federal solicitations, again, for profit, there is no geographic restriction, but you do have to be active in the federal system for award management, or SAM, which is the Federal Registration and System and Marketplace. And then you also have to be a small business concern based on your primary NAICS codes, which is usually determined either by revenue or size. As an LSBE, there is an additional presumption that you need to perform a commercial useful function. So all certified LSBE primes and subcontractors must meet this requirement, meaning you perform and execute a distinct element of the work. You are providing personnel, managing or supervising the work, performing work normal to your firm's business, and you're not subcontracting a portion of work greater than expected by industry practices. These are scrutinized on a case-by-case basis. If there is a CUF complaint against a business or a contractor, it will lead to a CUF investigation, which could then lead to penalties, debarment, and so on. So the DVBE certification program, this is again another recognition. There is no direct document review at the county level, but we can assist you with getting certified as DVBE with either the state of California's Department of General Services, which is on Cali Procure, or SDVOSB certified with the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. You're automatically included in the CBE designation program. So again, it is one of the few certifications that kind of crosses over in both receiving the 15% price bid reduction and the CBE participation goals. The social enterprise program. Oh, really quickly before I move on. So there are one other benefit that is exclusive to the LSB program. There is a utilization goal for LSB vendors of a 25%, meaning that a fourth of county contracts, a fourth of those spends that you saw at the beginning should be going back and reinvested locally into our certified small business vendors. 3% is the utilization goal for the DVBE certified vendors. And then the social enterprise program does not have a current utilization goal, but it is exclusively eligible to participate on a master agreement that is only for certified social enterprises and is not industry specific. So to apply and qualify for a social enterprise, you have to be located within the County of Los Angeles or have a major office located in LA County. And there's a couple of different ways that you can be eligible. Either it's applying 1 year of providing transitional jobs for 1 year and access to different support services. So different training programs, temporary job placement, apprenticeship programs, things like that. You can be certified as a B corporation by B Labs, which does have a fee associated with it, incorporated with the Secretary of State as a social purpose or benefit corporation and a 501c3. Certified green from a government agency or any business whose primary purpose is a common good demonstrated through a published mission statement and whose principal activity directly is related to accomplishing that social mission. So essentially it's an applicant that has a social mission, so contributes to the common good or, you know, environmental good in some way, has integrated that into the business practices or recruitment strategies or potentially providing some sort of a direct service, or maybe designs programs and is consulting in that way. And then also has metrics to capture how well they're doing on that social mission. So documents are required at this level of certification. We review everything from your articles of incorporation to your nonprofit 501c3 status with IRS, your annual reports, business plans or strategic plans for the future, which identify different goals that are relevant to the organizational processes that you believe would qualify you. Program overviews, project summaries, and then financial reports if they're categorized by different programs. So the simplified acquisition process, again, it is exclusively for PPE certified vendors. So those are the LSBEs, DVBEs, and social enterprises. It applies to purchases that are between 5,000 and just under 25,000. And it allows a buyer to obtain fewer quotes as long as all the quotes they have obtained are from a certified PPE vendor, meaning you're competing with much fewer business types and business types that are probably working in a similar capacity. So really where it becomes important is that typically any contract for service over 10,000 will have to be posted on the Doing Business portal. There are exceptions to that as well, but that is the standard rule. So anything between that 10,000 and under 25,000, we see a lot of contracting dollars going to LSBs and certified firms in this way, because it's such a simple way for buyers to be able to engage with these types of firms. So where do you go to apply? You can apply online at certify.lacounty.gov. Again, you have to be registered as an LA County vendor first. You will need to create your certification portal account, and you will need your vendor ID number, which will get assigned to you at registration, your tax ID number that's associated with the vendor account, and your email address that's associated with the vendor registration account as well. Community business enterprise programs. So these are the MBE, WBE, LGBTQ, and DBE and DVBE designation. So for minority owned and women owned business, there is a document review process that you're eligible for. We also recognize our partners over at LA City and at Supplier Clearinghouse who issue minority owned and women owned certification. So if you're certified by one of those agencies, you won't necessarily have to provide us the same level of documentation. We'll do a recognition once we verify that you're active. The minimum requirement is that the business is 51% owned and controlled by either a US citizen or lawful permanent resident who is either a minority in one of the presumed groups listed or is a qualifying woman or women. Similarly, with the LGBTQ certification, which again was recently added this past year, and the DBE program, this is more of a recognition. There is no document review process for the county at this time. So you will have to go get certified as LGBTQ or DBE through either the Department of Transportation for DBE or any other local transportation agency that's authorized to certify as DBE. And then provide us a copy of your certification record or reference to your file number. For LGBTQ, we recognize Supplier Clearinghouse Database and NGLCC, which is the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce. If you're part of the Chamber of Commerce, there is no fee for the application itself. If you are not, there is a very nominal fee. The CBE certification benefits, so these have a 25% utilization participation goal for county solicitations as a whole for eligible dollars. And that is measured collectively. So it's not broken out by different participation types at this time, just because tracking mechanisms haven't really been in place to be able for us to be able to do that in a meaningful way. But we're working on that. So utilized for subcontractor goals for both government contracting as well as large prime opportunities. You will be placed on an exclusive certification listing. You will be recognized by certain certification reciprocity partners. So again, you want to try and identify what are the certifications that are going to get recognized by other government agencies to reduce the time you're spending on these. The application is online, but there is just one more registration that you'll need to complete. This is an overview of the CBE required documents. So it's an example of the different supporting documentation that we'll accept by different participation types. And also we'll outline some of the reciprocity partners that we have who are certifying in different programming as well. So this is Avisar. Avisar is a third-party agency that the county is contracted to host our certification applications at this time. You do have to create a different account. And at the time that you create the account, you can use whatever account information you'd like. But when you're actually in the certification center platform, that is where you're going to need to verify that you have been a registered county vendor using your vendor ID, your tax ID number, your email address that's affiliated with the account, and it'll automatically verify that information for you before you submit. All of the documents are available to upload in a PDF format on the application site. So really it's just putting in some contact information, your company info, and then a description of the goods and services that your agency provides. One of the good things about Avisar is that it is not exclusively a county website, meaning that you'll have access to procurement information and certification information from any other agency that's represented on this platform as well. So this is an overview of all the important resources that we kind of went over. First and foremost, you can book an appointment with Ptac and we can help you with a lot of the stuff that we covered. We are just one piece in this giant ecosystem of assistance that you can absolutely take advantage of, and again, at no cost to you. There is a list of the different business resource centers that WEDAX provides. The links for both the certification programs by participation type, and then of course the Doing Business portal, which is your entry point into the county's procurement process. I also left my contact information, and I don't know if we have any time for questions, but I will try to hand this back to Angela.
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you, Jessica. Yes, and as we're asking folks to put their questions in the Q&A box below, and they are being answered, and then we'll also get to some of them at the end of the program. But thank you for that information. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ramon Ortiz, and let me introduce him, and he's with LA Metro. And so Ramon is a manager with the Certification and Economic Development, Diversity, and Economic Opportunity Department. And he's going to take a moment and tell us how to get certified with LA Metro. Welcome, Ramon.
Hi, thank you for having me. Just a little disclaimer, I'm kind of fighting off a cold. You know, this quick change in weather from 80 degrees to 60 kind of affected me a little bit. So bear with me, please, folks. That's all I'm asking, and we'll get through this, I promise. Okay, let me go ahead and start off with my presentation. Thank you, everybody, for being here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ramon Ortiz, and I'm the manager of certification at LA Metro. So I'm going to go over on how to get certified with LA Metro, you know, what certifications we accept. So let me go ahead and get started with the next slide, please. Okay. So why does it benefit you to get certified? First and foremost, small business certifications, they're very similar to professional certifications that you could get, and they document, one, that you could do a specific type of work, and two, it increases your visibility in the marketplace. Obviously, with our contracts and with the infrastructure bill, we have big projects, as you guys, like we say, don't mind our mess, but we're all over the county with all our projects that are going on. And so with those projects, we have goals where we have to meet Sbe and DVBE goals. So getting certified, it's kind of a gateway to that. It's kind of the way you get, you know, your foot in the door and are able to meet the goals that primes are, you know, asked to meet. And I say ask with a, you know, quotation marks, but that's the importance of getting certified. Again, it increases your visibility to prime contractors as they are required to meet Sbe and DVBE goals. And as a certified firm, you help them meet that goal. So they're going to be looking for you. So now that's why you have to be visible and certified with Metro. The main goal, and it relates to both of the programs, but it's specific to the DVBE. It's a way of leveling the playing field for small businesses that are owned and controlled by socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. It creates fair opportunity to compete for federal, and in the case of the Sbe, non-federal funded transportation contracts. So what we're trying to do here is obviously to make sure that as a small business, you're able to compete with the big firms that are out there. Next slide, please. Okay, so there's 3 current certifications that we at Metro accept currently. The first and foremost is the DVBE certification. We are a member of the California Unified Certification Program, as is the city of LA. Rolando, who will speak later, he's my counterpart over there at the city. So if you are currently certified by any of the CUCP agencies, which includes the city, which includes San Diego Airport, to name a few, Bay Area Rapid Transit, we have reciprocity with those agencies because we have a uniform certification program where we follow the same and adhere to the same DVBE guidelines as set forth in CFR 49 Part 26. So we do accept that from other ones, and we do obviously certify for that. So it's one of the certifications that we actually process at Metro. The second certification that we process is the Sbe program. Now, a word about the Sbe program, it's very similar to the DVBE program with one exception. And that is that the Sbe program is actually race and gender neutral. You just have to meet the economically disadvantaged portion of the requirements as set forth in the DVBE. All the other requirements are the same. The personal net worth, your gross receipts have to be the same. So one thing I do want to point out about the Sbe program, because there are a few programs out there, our program is unique to Metro. And that program, we only accept our certification. So if you want to bid on one of our projects as an Sbe, you have to be certified with Metro. As mentioned earlier by our presenter in the county, that our Sbe is actually accepted by the County of LA, and there are other agencies that do accept it. However, we do not have reciprocity, so we don't accept an SBE from anyone else. You have to be certified with Metro. As far as a disabled veteran business enterprise, a DVBE, like the county, we accept DVBE certifications provided by the DGS. So that is a self-certification process. You go online and you certify as a DVBE. Once you're there, you're in their database. We accept your certification from the DGS. We do have reciprocity with them for that as well. Next slide. Okay, so what are the requirements for DB and SBE? First and foremost, you have to be an independent business and organized for profit. What independent means is you're not dependent on any other firm for whatever reason. Second is the requirement for the personal net worth. Your net worth has to be less than 1.32 million. And one point that I do want to bring up, because that does scare a lot of people, especially with real estate being as high as it is in the state of California, that 1.32 million excludes your primary residence. So any other property you would obviously list, but your primary residence does not figure into that 1.32 million. The next one is your annual gross receipts for 3 years or 5 years average. At this current day, we're giving you the option of 3 or 5 year average cannot exceed 26.29 million. Now, effective next month, actually, we've been saying this for about a year, but effective next month, it's finally going to happen. The gross receipts average calculation will go from a 3-year to a 5-year average. That's nationwide. So in the meantime, we were allowed to go with either 3 or 5 years, and we were actually during that time giving the firm the option. And it did work out for a couple of firms to either go 5-year, but for the majority of them, we're still going 3-year. But now that's going to change to a 5-year average. And the next big qualification aspect that we look at is the qualifying individuals actually in control and of the daily business operations. So that's a very critical point. When we do our analysis, we want to make sure that the individual actually could perform the work, has knowledge of the work, and could handle the commercial use of function, which they're getting certified under. Okay, 51% ownership by one or more economically disadvantaged individuals. The question comes up a lot: could there be multiple owners that qualify? Yes, that is true, so long as they make up 51% or more of the ownership. Any variance in that, if you have 2 disadvantaged owners and they don't make 51%, they do not qualify. Okay, next slide. Okay, a couple more requirements, I promise this is it. DBE must also be socially disadvantaged. So that's where we go back to the SBE portion where I told you only have to meet the economic disadvantage requirement. A DBE has to be both. So you have to meet the socially disadvantaged requirement. So what the socially disadvantaged requirement means, you're an individual who is a U.S. citizen of the United States, and very importantly, a lawfully admitted or a lawfully admitted permanent resident who's a member of the following groups. Those groups include African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, Asian Pacific Americans, subcontinent Asians, Asian Americans, and women. Next slide. Okay, so how do you get certified? So we were actually the first CUCP member agency that implemented an online certification program where we actually allow applicant firms to submit their entire application online. The good thing about that is it really, really came in handy during the pandemic. We started seeing an uptick in certifications, and a lot of that had to do because everybody was at home. So it was very convenient for folks to just gather up their paperwork, get everything that they needed, and upload it through our system and apply through that system. Now, there was a little bit of hesitation at first. Obviously, when there's a change, there's obviously issues that folks have. Technology, sometimes isn't, our best friends. So there was a little bit of hesitation, but I think one of the benefits that we had during the pandemic is we were able to log on anywhere, which is a feature that anybody who's applying for certification could do as well in this program. Except you can't be out of the country. Let me just actually put that, because there was actually someone who called and was trying to get tech support. They were out of the country, so they figured they'd do their application. It doesn't work outside the United States, but if you're anywhere else in the United States, you can log on. You could do your application. You can submit your documentation. We do all our reviews through the online portion. And right now during the pandemic, The mandatory site visit, which is part of the DBE program, is being done online as well, or through the phone, Skype, whatever method that works for both parties. That's how it's being done. So now I could honestly say this is a very user-friendly program. It's definitely a tracking tool that gives you statuses of where you are in your application and what you need to submit. And then our team members could contact you and say, hey, you submitted this, but we need this. And they'll send you the Q&A. And during the Q&A, you'll get messages of what you need to submit, and then you just have to upload it and send it, and then we get it from there. So it's really, really a great program to have. Now, obviously with any technology, there's times we're going to get stuck. I call these folks all the time, so I definitely know, and I could vouch for them that they're there 24-hour to offer your technical support. They also have great webinars that help you and assist you in getting certified, going through the certification process and walk you through anything that you might encounter on the program. And again, I can verify they're there 24 hours because I have called them in off hours and they're definitely there. Next slide. Okay, so I believe this is my last slide. These are the certification resources of where you need to go to get certified. Again, to get certified both as an SBE or a DBE, you're going to follow that link, which is metro.gov2g.com. You're going to create an account, and that you're going to do everything through there. If, I know some folks prefer to speak to us instead of, the tech support folks. You're more than welcome to contact our staff. And here's the contact information for our staff. So our email is certificationunit@metro.net. We do check that every single day, usually in the mornings. And we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Normally it's within 1 to 2 business days. We're going to contact you and ask, work with you to see what it is that you have questions on. If you absolutely need to talk to somebody, we do monitor this hotline here at 213-922-2600. That's actually monitored during regular business hours. It has a voicemail feature if you do want to leave a voicemail and have somebody return your call. We could definitely do that. And finally, if you want to find out more about our certification unit or Metro in general, you can log on to our website at metro.net/connect. And it also gives you other resources related to our projects, our look ahead as far as projects that are in the works that are, down the pipe on their way. And that's available there. Or if you, let's say, forgot or misplaced my information or my staff's information, it's on the site as well. So, and that concludes my presentation. And I'll hand it over back to you, Angela. And I think you're on mute.
I was. Okay, thanks, Ramon. Thank you so much for that information. Okay, our next speaker is from the city of Los Angeles, and they're going to talk about what it takes to get certified there. Our speaker is Rolando Tuasan, and he is certification analyst with the Certification Outreach Regulations Enforcement, better known as CORE, with Public Works Bureau of Contract Administration. And so we'd like to take a moment and welcome Rolando.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Carlos. Again, my name is Rolando Tawason with the City of LA Bureau of Contract Administration, CORE unit, and our section is responsible for reviewing all the certification applications that we get, with the city. Next slide, please. Before the presentation started, though, I thought that the City of LA, held the distinction of having a lot of certification programs in there, but I think County of LA beat us to that punch, though. We have a bunch of certification programs, and you could see those. So we basically just grouped them into 3 distinct groupings. One are ownership-based programs, which is the minority business enterprise, the women business enterprise, the disadvantaged business enterprise, the airport concession, disadvantaged business enterprise, the disabled veteran business enterprise for the airport, or LAWA. There's a size-based certification as SBE proprietary. meaning that it's only recognized by the proprietary departments with the city, namely Department of Water and Power, Port of LA, and the airports or LAWA. And we have the location-based programs, which are the local business enterprise program, the local small business program, and the local transitional enterprise program. Just a reminder, I believe we have the same names to the programs as with the county, but unfortunately, we don't have reciprocity with similar named programs for the county. So, just bear that in mind. So these are the requirements of each ownership-based programs. Again, 51% owned by a minority. A minority is, being member of the groups, which you could see on the right side, or a woman business enterprise. And if you're a minority woman, then you get both. You're both recognized as minority and women business enterprise. We have the disadvantaged business enterprise, which Ramon from Metro has, aptly described the requirements. I'm not going through those anymore because, again, we are a member of the California Unified Certification Program. And once you're certified by one of our member agencies, then you are recognized statewide. The airport concessions, DBE, are basically recognized only for those that have direct, or rather directly services the airports or the traveling public. So these are mainly used for projects with the Los Angeles World Airports. And then we have the Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Program, again, for the airports, and you have to be 51% owned by a certified disabled veteran. Next slide, please. How to apply for DBE or Acdbe? Again, we use B2G now, as is with Metro. So you can either go through that website, lacity.diversitysoftware.com, or you can actually, if you're really not that computer savvy, we still can accept paper applications for DBE or Acdbe. But we highly recommend that you register in the B2G Now software, or through lacity.diversitysoftware.com. The only requirement there is we can only accept businesses that are headquartered in the county of LA. So if you're outside the county of LA, then we have to send you through the other CUCP member agencies like Metro or Caltrans up north, and you can apply through that link in there, californiaucp.dbesystems.com. Next slide, please. Again, just a small, look-see on the applications for minority women business. It's a simpler applications grandfather from the disadvantaged business enterprise program. So it's a much simpler process to make to apply for, but because this is just local with the city. Next slide, please. The SBE proprietary. Can you go back one slide, please? Okay, the SBE proprietary is recognized only, again, as I mentioned, by the three proprietary departments, DWP, Port of LA, and LAWA. The beauty about this SBE proprietary program is you can't really see it, but on the first page of the application, There are a number of certifications that we recognize from various agencies. So if you are currently certified by one of those which are listed in the front page of the application package for this program, then you automatically are recognized as an SBE proprietary. If not, unfortunately, you have to go through a application process where we ask for your taxes and other organizational related documents. Next slide, please. Location-based program. Again, very similar to County of LA, but we don't have any reciprocity with them. The city recently adopted an ordinance last August of this year to basically pull together these three distinct certification programs that we had before, which are the local business enterprise program, the local small business enterprise program, and the local transitional employer program. What is the common thread to this programs? They're location based, and you must be located or headquartered in LA County. So basically, if you're already headquartered in LA County, you can actually be a local business enterprise and a local small business enterprise at the same time, granted that you follow or are eligible for the income requirement for a small local business. Again, location base is LA County. You have to prove to us that you have a physical workspace within LA County. And this is a space where you do all your work, where books and records are kept. Unfortunately, we do not accept addresses that are PO boxes or virtual offices or co-working offices, that are, because those are not brick and mortar offices though. So next slide, please. The local business preference program, again, principal workspace should be in LA County. You should have an account with business tax registration with the city of Los Angeles. You apply for these three certifications through the Los Angeles Business Assistance Virtual Network, which we will, the upcoming slides will give you a link to that. And our analysts, once you apply with that through Bhavan, would request additional information for us to review your eligibility and certifiability for these programs. Okay, next slide, please. Local Transitional Employer Program. This is the only program that is open to profit and non-profit firms. So the requirement of that is they should be headquartered in the state of California, has been operation for 1 year, providing transitional jobs and support services for program participants. Basically, this program was developed for companies that train hard to employ people, like at-risk youth, people who just came from being incarcerated, or people who have been out of the out of business or jobs for a long time. Again, application methods for our different programs in there, either most of them, the MBE WBE, again, it's a paper application, and the DB and Acdbe, you could go through B2G or send us an application through the mail. Again, the SBE proprietary is more like a recognition if you are have current certifications with a bunch of agencies that we recognize. And there are other, like the LBE Harbor. Again, I would emphasize that, you know, you register with the Los Angeles Business Assistance Virtual Network, or BAVAN, first, because BAVAN not only can house your firm's record and your certification, it is also a portal for all the cities projects out to bid. So once you register there, then you can actually see all the projects or bids upcoming for the city of LA. Next slide, please. Oh, okay. So again, advantages, you know, as I mentioned before, before anything else, before you're even certified, I would suggest that you register in the LABAVN. It's very easy to register. You just follow the prompts in there. All you need to do is first is to make sure that you have all the information with you about your business, and then you know your NAICS code that you are using, because that's one information that you have to enter to complete the registration process. Next slide, please. Okay, LABN recognition. We do recognize a bunch of our programs actually are more recognition programs from the California Department of General Services, as you can see there. So I'm not going, you know, in detail for that, because, you know, you'll get a copy of this presentation anyway. So, you know, those ones that are circled are the ones that are recognized through the Department of General Services. Next slide, please. Again, we have this new or another certification which wasn't presented earlier, is the LGBTE recognition. No application required. This is again a recognition, you know, once your firm, as long as your firm is certified with the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, then we recognize you as an LGBTE firm. Next slide. A quick view of what we do to review your applications. So that's self-explanatory. Next slide, please. Just some info for you on how long it takes for us to do this. Again, it depends. The number of days there are optimistic days in there. It depends on how complete your applications are, or how long it would take us back and forth to you know, ask for all the required documents from an applicant. Next slide, please. Again, more information, please make sure that you have these links handy. So any questions, you could go to our Bureau website, Bureau of Contract Administration, and you can email questions to us. This is the best way for us, instead of, you know, calling us on our general line. Send us you know, your questions through that link, bca.certifications@lacity.org. There's a separate one-page infographics that we have, and I believe that would be sent to all the participants for this event and after this presentation. And I believe, is there another slide that we have, Carlos? And I think that's about it. Yeah, so, well, thank you very much, folks, for your time and effort. I know that, you know, between LA County and LA Metro, I would suggest strongly that you apply with all those certifications that they have. recognize what is have reciprocity between the agencies, because each of our projects require distinct programs or certifications that is required to complete the goals of the project. So again, do your homework and understand each agency's programs and apply to all of them, you know, as long as you know that you're eligible for them. With that, thank you very much for your time, and I'll pass it on to you, Angela. Thank you so much.
All righty. Well, thank you again, Rolando, for that great information on certification from the City of Los Angeles. And we also, again, want to thank Jessica with her information from the County of Los Angeles. And also thank you again to Ramon from LA Metro. And so now to wrap it all up, to ask some of the frequently asked questions, and for closing remarks, I'd like to introduce Naveed Barkhadar, who is the Vice President and Director of Client and Program Management at the Meriwether and Williams Insurance Services. Naveed?
Thank you very much, Angela. And thank you again to all our panelists and especially our presenters from each of the public agencies for this very informative workshop on certification. We have received actually quite a bit of questions, and a significant of them have been answered live throughout the presentation and or through the Q&A feature. So thank you to all who have submitted your questions. As was mentioned previously, we're actually going to be submitting post this event the link to the slides, as well as a Q&A sheet answering some of the questions, the most pertinent questions, if you will, that have been asked most commonly. So just very quickly, because there have been some common questions that have been asked from multiple participants. Number one, will the presentation be shared? I think we've mentioned that a few times now, that yes, you know, after this event, we will be sending a copy of the slides along with a recording of the presentation, which will also be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So you'll have the ability to view this presentation at your own leisure after this event as well. Another question that I think I can answer as well, but I'll also open it to the panelists from the agencies. Do certifications only apply to construction companies? And I believe the answer to that is no. If I'm mistaken, please jump in, any of the panelists from any of the public agencies, but I believe certifications are applicable to all industries and, you know, their respective classifications. So it is not something that is limited to construction companies. If any of the panelists from any of the agencies want to add on to that or correct me, by all means, please do so.
This is Ramon. That's correct. Everybody has different job codes and NICS codes, and they would go find out what their NICS codes are, and we certify for all, not just construction.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ramon. Another question that seemed to be common, and I saw Rolando actually had this in one of his slides, so I may ask you, Jessica and Ramon, to address this, is how long does it take to get your certifications approved? Maybe we'll start with Jessica on this one.
So as was mentioned by Rolando, and I believe also Ramon, it really depends on how complete your application is, and also what the like, which can vary from month to month. So we do process applications in the order that we receive them. We do say about a 30-day turnaround time at the maximum. It can be less than that. So.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Ramon?
Per the regulations, we have 90 days to complete an DBE application. So we also do that for SBE. And typically it's done before, but we do have the 90-day taken into consideration if we do have a complete application. Now, one thing that Metro does do, we do offer expedited certification, and you could select that on B2G Now. That's normally 45 to 60 days. There is no guarantee, but we do offer that, and based on the workload as well.
Great. Thank you so much for those explanations. Another question that came in a few times was, do certifications ever expire? Maybe Rolando, will start with you on the city side.
Yes. The disadvantage, the DB and Acdbe do not expire. And we also our minority business and women business enterprise do not expire. Granted that there are no drastic change in the structure or ownership of the company that would disqualify you from being either a DBE, Acdbe, MM, or W. The other programs that we have various expirations of from anywhere from 2 to 5 years. So again, just if you have more more information, our website can be of help for that.
Great.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Rolando. Ramon, how about at Metro? Do your certifications have an expiration date?
No, per the regulations of DBE, which of course we carry on to the SBE, requires annual updates if there's any change in ownership or any change in the structure of the firm. But other than that, there is a 5-year review process that happens every 5 years. So it's technically not a recertification. We stray away from that term. What it is, it's a review to assure that you still qualify for the program. And if you do, there's no expiration.
Great, thank you. And Jessica, how about at the county?
So most of our certifications are going to follow a 2-year cycle. So if you're qualifying via a recognition with another reciprocity partner, we will adopt whatever application certification expiration date that has for our small business program. So either 2 to 5 years. DVBE similarly will reflect whatever you have with SDVOSB or DVBE certification with the state or with the VA. But otherwise, yeah, we do ask for an update of information every 2 years for our CBE programs.
Okay, perfect. Another question that I know some of our account managers also often receive is, if an individual owns multiple business entities, can they apply for certifications for each of those entities, or is it limited to just one owner for one entity? And Ramon, we'll start with you on that one from Metro's perspective.
For the most part, it really depends on their net worth and their availability in the firm. So it's a case-by-case basis.
Got it. Jessica?
Yeah, similarly, as long as you can meet the minimum requirements of being independent and they each have their own, tax ID numbers, are operating pretty much individually from one another. And you can provide enough document and verification that that's the way the business is functioning, it will be scrutinized on a case-by-case basis, but you could hypothetically.
Got it. Got it. Rolando, how about at the city? Is that pretty much the same over there as well?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I think both Ramon and Jessica, ably explained that. You can, as long as the businesses are independent of each other, because there's the basic certification requirements, which is ownership and control. The applicant has to prove to us those two aspects, that they have ownership and control of this business. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. Those were actually the most common questions that were repeatedly asked. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll download all the questions that have been asked, because there were quite a few, and we'll attempt our very best to work with the representatives from each of the public agencies and get answers and circulate that all to all of you who have attended this event. If you've attended this event, obviously you are on the registration list and you will be receiving our follow-up email post this event. So with that, and I want to make one more important point that Rolando actually mentioned towards the end of his presentation, and I think it was alluded to by both Ramon and Jessica in their presentations as well, is the concept of reciprocity. And that's oftentimes where most businesses struggle with understanding which certification is reciprocal with another agency. If I'm certified here as an SBE, does this other agency also accept that certification? And I would emphasize that as our principal Ingrid mentioned earlier, one of the key benefits of applying to the program is you can work with an account manager to actually discern, where your business is at the moment in terms of what certifications you have, but more importantly, specific to the question of reciprocity, our account managers can guide you in terms of saying, okay, considering these are the facts about your business, these are the requirements or the eligibility requirements that you meet, you want to start with this certification. And then this way, this certification is automatically reciprocal with other agencies. So there's a lot in terms of not only just the general nature and some complexities that are involved in certifications in general, but there's also a lot of information that's important in terms of reciprocity. And so we encourage all of you to the extent that you're interested in the service of the program, which again are at no charge to participating businesses. These are all sponsored by our public agencies. Please apply for the program, and our account managers will definitely be able to guide you in terms of just the complexities around certifications, but more importantly, helping you identify which one may be most relevant and most important for you to obtain first, second, third, and so on. And with that, I want to just quickly again thank our presenters from each of the public agencies, Jessica, Ramon, and Rolando. Thank you so much for all the informative information on certification. It's not often we have a venue and a forum, either live or virtual for that matter, to bring all the agencies in one format and talk about certification. So we really appreciate your time and for being with us today and sharing this information. Certainly want to give a big shout out and a thank you to Angela Gibson for all her efforts in convening this event and coordinating it with our public agencies. Of course, I want to thank our team members, many of whom have been answering the questions behind the scenes here, and of course our account managers as well. And last but not least, thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to partake in this event today. And with that, again, we thank you. You'll be receiving an email from us, in the next few days as a follow-up. We thank you again and hope you stay safe out there. Thank you.